something that we would like to see, that it's something that to the community is transparent. It's the Latino Nursing Institute. Many of us, many organizations, colleges could have a space there, but to the people it's transparent. It's the place you go to.
You have my commitment. A matter of fact, thank you. Now I know why I came here today. Introduce yourself and...
Thank you. First of all, it's a comment. I would like to thank the panel. Thank you. You did a
And by the way, on behalf of all of you people out here, I think each one of you have a gift on behalf of the Latino Caucus Foundation. Thank all of you guys. But go ahead.
Senator, thank you very much for your kind words. My name is Carlos Chavez. I work for an agency called Ren's Addiction Counseling Center, and I'm based in Elgin, Illinois. I just want to let you know that your comments, they're wonderful, but they're all based in Chicago. Latinos don't live in Chicago only. Aurora is the second largest suburb with more than 60% of Latinos, and we're lacking of resources. Elgin, Carpentersville, Crystal Lake, we are lacking of resources. U46 is a school district from Elgin. It's the second largest school district in the state of Illinois. We are smaller than 1/10 from Chicago public schools. Please, please, I'm begging you, please, give us some resources. Don't centralize your services in Chicago. It's the same way Chicago to Elgin than Elgin to Chicago. Can you imagine somebody who wants to go to San Agustin College from Elgin? They have to drive 2 or 3 hours because of the traffic to get their education. I don't think it's fair. And please, please, I'm begging you. Thank you.
Okay.
Susana Gonzalez wants to.
I really want to feed into his passion, because something that Juan said earlier, and I mentioned, or I heard it on our panel, things that work in carreras en salud and as pathways and in some of the workforce development, and something innovative is to bring satellites to our sister suburbs to to do on-site learning, in that you still get a degree through this university, but the university is bridging and linking the pipeline on ramp. I love what you said, because you're right. Not everyone can come to this brick and mortar place. But you know what happens today with technology is there is such a thing as a computer, and there are classes that I can learn online, and there's the education that I can get. Living in Elgin, I'm still a part of Instituto de Progreso Latino, or I'm still a part of Carreras en Salud, or I'm still a part now of an ADN or a BSN link program where we meet the standards, we meet the credentials to get them their degrees and their education. So you're very absolutely right, sir. That could.
And let me point out real quickly, this is a state conference and we are the state legislature. You're absolutely right. Your senator is Senator Michael Nolan. His wife, I assisted her becoming a school board member in Unit 46. As you know, I'm the chairman of education in the Senate now. And Michael, and ella Latina, she's of Latina descent. And in Elgin, we have a large community from Puerto Rico, from Aguada, Puerto Rico, that's been living there since the Elgin clock days. As a doctor will tell you, I'm a historian from a little bit of jack of all trades and master of none. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure. So you get with your senator and you let him know you were in that workshop. He's a good friend of mine. But that's exactly, how do we create that virtual reality and get Cisco, maybe partner with a Cisco, and let's get those TVs in there, because we can. With all this technology, we are Jetsons, the Flintstones. So there is a way. And as a compliment to St. Augustine, they should put some money in and open up in your city.
If I could comment very quickly, follow up very quickly. Point well taken, and we do need to address that. Just to your point, St. Augustine, we just opened a site in Aurora because we understand that. So we have, and maybe Elgin will be next. We can talk.
You got the best up here, folks. Identify yourself and feel free.
Yes, I'm Paula Shipure. I'm a registered nurse, and Susanna and I are buddies. And I would like to think that I'm the Polish Susanna.
Hey, dobranoc. Good evening.
But my comment is to talk to what Carlos was saying. I think that it is very important for us to, look at all of, the areas. And at Robert Morris University, I taught medical assistants, and they came across very, very many of the barriers that we see with the Latino group, but also for all of our international nurses. And so I am so very proud to be working with Susanna and Andrew and Carmen and Jose on the board because I'm their new director for the Chicago Bilingual Nurse Consortium for Marketing and Fundraising.
That's what we need. That's right.
So what I would like to do is ask you to pass these out at your workplaces, hang them up everywhere, because we are seeking those international nurses. Dulceline is from Brazil. She has joined us here in America, and she is an extraordinary registered nurse. I just had 6 people that graduated from our class last time. I teach the nurses to pass their state boards here in the United States, the NCLEX. And I had 6 of my dream team that were amazing. And you guys know that we had our lady from Cameroon who was at our fundraiser, and she drove to Springfield so that she wouldn't have to wait to take the test because she was so ready.
Wow.
She was so ready.
Good stuff.
And she passed. So we have a new registered nurse who is trilingual, who can speak to exactly what Susanna was talking about, from your heart, with your own compassion, in your own language.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. That's what we need. And Chicago is a city of many languages and 102 counties. As I travel from Saline and Gallatin County, which is on the border of Kentucky, where they only have 1 medical clinic, and they only have 8 RN there. Now, these are poor Appalachian whites, African Americans, and by the way, now we have new immigrants working there, all the way to McHenry County. Good morning.
Senator,
I
wanted to address before the next person comes, because
in.
I think it's real important for the suburban question, right? I want to offer up, we have experience in how to get community colleges to do what they should be doing right now, and then to work with the workforce board, right? So I would say to anyone in the suburbs, Elgin or anywhere else, right? The reality is, for us to hit the increases in numbers, those community colleges have to change practice.
Yes, sir.
And those workforce boards have to open up their resources, okay? And so I want to offer up to anyone here from the suburbs who's a leader, I will work with you. Our organization will work with you to make
sure
will
work with you and work with your
open up those doors,
right.
Whatever it takes,
right.
to open up those doors, because that has to happen now in those places.
And I'll be more than willing to be the convener of those meetings and get your legislator at the table.
Yeah. Senator, I think what Juan just said is really critical. When I asked Juan to go to the College of DuPage, their answer to him was really about, this isn't a priority for us. Wow. We have got to get into the conversation locally. And it's not just Elgin and Aurora. It's Waukegan.
That's right.
It's Beardstown.
That's right.
It's the migrants in Southern Illinois.
That's right.
I mean, we're sitting
Collinsville.
in these communities, and we're right now in the process of forcing them to strategic planning. But you all have to be at the table.
Yes.
Because I can drive resources, but if the same people are telling me what the priorities are, then there's no way for me to get past that conversation. So
okay, you hear that? You hear that? That's a very important point to work with. It connects the next train.
Yeah. And I would send everybody in this room the contact of every director for every workforce board, and you should ask them, how do you get nominated to a board? And right in DuPage County, they have their own board, but trust me, those folks aren't soliciting you to come onto that board. You have to begin to making table. As the senator said, let's get off the menu and create our own table, because we've got to do it, because this is a critical time.
Yep, so. And we have very good friends in DuPage now, Senator Tom Cullerton and a couple other ones now. Good afternoon. Identify yourself for the record and ask your question, sir.
Good morning. My name is Jorge Joari, and I'm not a registered nurse. But I've been married.
Registered nurses.
I've been married to one for 33 years.
That's right.
Done some great work over the years. But I'm an associate dean at the University of Illinois College of Medicine, and I direct the Hispanic Center of Excellence there. And I just want to, Senator, to thank you so much for your leadership in the support of the caucus from the mid-2000s, when unfortunately we lost the federal funding that we had for the center. Then Senator Del Valle and the caucus has provided continuous support for our work. And my comment is that the common denominator for all the health professions is a strong background in math and science.
Yes.
That begins not in college or even high school, but in elementary school and even kindergarten. And so as I get older, I'm getting more impatient. And I think we need accountability for every one of our institutions that educate our children. I'm all for people, like you said, reaching to the highest potential. And my goal for the last 34 years has been to get more Latino doctors. I'm very proud that our medical school is actually responsible for graduating 3 of every 5 Latino MDs in the state of Illinois. We have 7 medical schools in the state.
And as you know, you have one of my students, Alejandra Cano, who will become a doctor.
Will be graduating in the spring. But we've graduated over 1,200 Latino MDs since 1980. But we're still like 4% of all the practicing physicians in the state of Illinois. 4% when our population is close to 17%.
That's correct.
So we're finishing a study that's actually supported by the National Institutes of Health with 5 high schools in the city, 2,800 Latino high school students, asking them about science. What we're finding actually, they come to high school with a strong interest in science and desire to do science. They understand the value of science to society. By the 11th grade, they've lost that interest. Mm-hmm. Something is going on in high school that deters our kids with the talent and the interest to keep on track for those careers. And if you don't do well in high school, there's not a lot of possibility after that.
And that's why, as a chair of education, I'm really pushing in STEM in our schools, and I'm actually walking my schools right now, 13. We have 5 minutes here left here. So we totally agree, and that is the wave of the future, and that is to make sure that science and engineering and math is added, something that we got to continue to do. Panel, we have 5 minutes. If there's any other questions, if any of the panel want to jump in and make comments, look around you. You have people here in all walks of life. Please network. You have people here in strong public relations from chambers, from the Latino chambers, and they've created their own entities. You have doctors here, nurses here. You have a lot of our. So when you talk to each other, it's really important because, and then that's how we connect also as we leave this room. And then as it comes back, you guys are conduit into my surge switch. You're all individual surge switches come into our surge in the General Assembly, in the Latino caucus. My role for them is to make sure, even though I'm chairing education now, Linda Chapalavia is doing an excellent job in the House with education, and she's leading that over there from Aurora for us right now. And my focus and concentration for 15 years has been public health and a lot of my background, so that's why I'm here. But of course, as a leader of our caucus, how do we translate this into action? How do we now have something on the agenda and been challenged by one of our deans of our community and mental health community and physical health, and that is to get a center. That is to set up some meetings and for me to start convening with the other generals. If this was a cruise ship, we need no captains. There are generals up in here. And we're able to sit down and bring the Ciscos to the table to bring some possible fun. Here are these leaders. How do we connect? Because I want to see the next stage. I do not want to. Matter of fact, I don't think I will be moderator next year if I don't have a meeting about this within the next 6 months. Because I will be calling you. Because this is so real that we will leave a footprint and a beginning. And this generates money. We need wave makers and innovators. And this is the time. It's about all of America, and we must lead. Keep this state a world-class state. We are the hub of America, and Chicago is a world-class city. We must transition like cities in San Antonio. We must be able to do what they do in Dade counties with populations before ours, our majority populations. They must work with all people of different nationalities and colors and socioeconomics. They must have a sensitivity to the constituents and have access to the dollars that state government and federal government has access, and stop with the flag waving and the parades. And let's get into the nitty-gritty and interpreting what's standing around you, who's standing around you in those parades. Those families need our services. We have a university. We have leadership in the medical community and nursing. We have our educators. We have the facilities. We have the abilities. Now we must bring them all together and have an interdependent relationship with one another. All these pearls must be put on one necklace. And I challenge you to challenge me, as I'm willing to convene this, to sit down and see, with the great experience